My parents attempted to evict me so my sister could have her first home. In court, my 7-year-old daughter asked the judge, "Can I show you something Daddy doesn't know?" The judge nodded. She lifted her tablet and pressed play. As it started, the screen showed her saying, "Hey, Reddit, you never really expect betrayal to come from your own family. You think that no matter how difficult things get, they will always support you. But I learned the hard way that some people only recognize family when there's something to gain. My name is David, and my parents tried to evict me. Not because I did anything wrong, but because my sister wanted what I had. For 10 years, I had been living in the old family home. After Dad retired, he offered it to me rent-free so my wife Rachel and I could raise our daughter Lily in a safe environment. He said it was a thank you for taking care of him and Mom after his surgery. I took it as a sign of trust. I invested everything into maintaining that house, repairs, taxes, renovations, all of my savings. Every nail, every brick, every memory was built by my hands. Life was straightforward until my sister Monica got married, and that's when everything started to unravel. She was Dad's favorite. She always had been. When she announced her engagement, my parents went all out, buy her gifts, planning her dream wedding, and endlessly discussing how they'd help her start her new life. At first, I didn't mind. She was family. But then one evening, Dad called and said the words that shattered my world. "David, we've been thinking it's time for Monica and her husband to have their own place. So we decided to give them the house." I froze. "The house? You mean the one I've been living in for 10 years? "You've had a good run," Dad said casually. "You can always rent something nearby." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Dad, I put everything into fixing this place. It's our home. Lily's school is nearby." Mom interrupted sharply. "Monica deserves this. She's starting her family. You'll understand one day." Understand? How was I supposed to comprehend being thrown out so my sister could have a free house? Rachel tried to calm me that night, but I could barely sleep. Lily, my 7-year-old, sensed the tension and quietly asked, "Daddy, are we in trouble?" I smiled weakly. "No, sweetheart, we'll be okay." But deep down, I didn't believe it. A week later, the first letter arrived, a formal eviction notice filed by my own parents. When I called Dad in disbelief, he didn't answer. When I went to their house, Monica opened the door with a smug expression. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," she said. "It's just a house." I clenched my fists. "Just a house, Monica? This is where I raise my daughter." She shrugged and replied, "You can find somewhere else." That was the moment something inside me broke, not from anger, but from clarity. I realized this wasn't just about property. It was about control. They wanted to show me that my life was still theirs to rearrange. But not anymore. I hired a lawyer, and the case went to court within weeks. Mom and Dad showed up hand in hand, with Monica sitting proudly beside them like a queen waiting for her crown. They claimed there was no written agreement stating that the house was mine. Even though I had paid for everything, their lawyer portrayed me as an ungrateful son, taking advantage of their generosity. As I sat there listening to them twist the truth, all I could think of was Lily, my little girl, watching her family tear itself apart. Rachel held my hand, whispering, "No matter what happens, we still have each other." I nodded, but inside I was breaking. Then, halfway through the hearing, something unexpected occurred. The judge, a stern woman with glasses and kind eyes, asked if anyone else wanted to speak. Before I could respond, a small voice in the back of the room said, "I do." Everyone turned to see Lily clutching her tablet, standing nervously by Rachel's side. The judge smiled gently. "Young lady, who are you?" "I'm Lily," she said bravely. "That's my daddy." The courtroom murmured softly. The judge asked, "And what would you like to say, Lily?" She took a shaky breath. "Can I show you something Daddy doesn't know?" The judge raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Something he doesn't know?" Lily nodded earnestly. "Yes, ma'am. I promise it's important." The judge hesitated, then said, "All right, sweetheart, you may approach." Lily walked to the front, holding her tablet like it was a secret treasure. She looked at me and whispered, "Don't be mad, Daddy. I just want to help." I frowned, confused. Help with what? But before I could ask more, she turned to the judge and said, "Can I press play?" The judge nodded slowly. "Go ahead." Lily pressed play on the screen, and what came next changed everything. As the video started, my parents' faces went pale, and within seconds, the entire courtroom fell silent. What my daughter recorded wasn't just proof. It was the truth they had been hiding for years. When Lily pressed play, the sound echoed softly through the courtroom. At first, only faint background chatter could be heard. Then my father's voice emerged. "We'll tell him it's a misunderstanding," he said coldly. "Once the papers are filed, he won't have a choice. Monica needs that house." Then my mother's voice joined in, sharper and full of annoyance. "He's too soft. He'll probably forgive us anyway. He always does." My stomach twisted, and my hands went cold. Lily's little video recorded, without any of us knowing, captured everything. I remembered that night. We had gone to my parents' house for dinner. Lily had been playing in the living room with her tablet, pretending to record her dolls. Apparently, she left it on when we went outside, and it picked up their conversation. The video continued. "You're sure the deed transfer will go through?" Monica's voice asked. "Absolutely," Dad replied. "We'll say it's for estate planning. Once he's out, it's legally hers." The entire courtroom froze. The judge's eyebrows shot up. "Is this your parents' voices, Mr. Parker?" I swallowed hard. "Yes, Your Honor. That's them." My parents' faces went pale, the kind of pale that comes only from being caught without a way out. Mom stammered. "That's taken out of context." The judge raised a hand. "Quiet, Mom." She turned to Lily gently. "Sweetheart, may I see the rest?" Lily nodded and continued the video. It went on for another 30 seconds, long enough for my parents and sister to discuss how they had already contacted a realtor to list my house once I was out of the way. Then the screen went black. The judge leaned back slowly, narrowing her eyes at my parents. "So let me get this straight. You filed an eviction under false pretenses with the intent to transfer property ownership for financial gain." Dad opened his mouth, then closed it again. Monica's lips trembled. "We were just trying to help each other as a family," she whispered weakly. The judge didn't even flinch. "Family does not mean fraud, Miss Parker." Then she looked at me. "Mr. Parker, I am amending this case immediately. The eviction is dismissed with prejudice. You retain full possession of your home." I stared in disbelief. "You mean it's over?" "Over," she confirmed firmly. "And I'll be recommending that this evidence be forwarded for civil penalties." Lily's eyes lit up. "So we can stay, Daddy?" I picked her up and hugged her tightly, tears finally breaking free. "Yes, sweetheart, we can stay." Rachel was crying too, but it was the kind of cry that comes from months of fear finally ending. After court, my parents tried to approach us in the hallway. Mom looked desperate, and Dad's pride had turned into quiet shame. "David, please," Mom said softly. "We didn't mean for it to go this far." I shook my head. "You meant every word. You just didn't expect to get caught." Monica stepped forward. "I didn't want it to end like this, David." I cut her off. "You wanted what I built. You all did, but you forgot one thing." They stared silently as I continued quietly. "I wasn't fighting for a house. I was fighting for my family's peace. And that's something you can't take." Mom broke down crying, but I walked away, not with anger, but with a strange sense of calm. Sometimes, walking away is the final word. That night, we sat in the living room, Rachel, Lily, and I, the same room where I once feared we'd have to pack and leave. Lily was curled up on the couch, still holding her tablet like a trophy. Rachel smiled at her. "You were so brave today, baby." Lily grinned. "I just didn't want us to lose our home, Mommy." I kissed her forehead. "You didn't just save our home, sweetheart. You reminded me what truly matters." She looked at me curiously. "What's that?" I smiled faintly. "That the truth always finds a way, even to the smallest voice in a room." After Lily went to bed, Rachel and I sat outside on the porch. The stars were out, and the sky was clear for the first time in months. She leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "Do you think your parents will ever change?" I took a deep breath. Maybe, but even if they don't, we did. We sat in silence for a long time, and for the first time in years, it wasn't a heavy silence. It was peace. Months passed. We rebuilt, not the house, but our hearts. Lily started drawing again. Rachel opened her small baking business. And I finally learned how to live without waiting for approval. Then one day, I received a letter. It was from my parents. Inside was a handwritten note. We lost everything, but maybe it's what we needed to find ourselves again. Tell Lily we're proud of her, and if she ever wants a visit, our door is open. I folded the letter and tucked it into the family album, not as a reminder of pain, but of closure. Because sometimes forgiveness doesn't mean inviting people back into your life. It just means letting go of the weight they left behind. That night, I watched Lily sleep, peaceful, innocent, unaware of the battles that had been fought for her smile. And I realized something. In the end, it wasn't my lawyers or judge that saved us. It was her courage. The courage of a 7-year-old who believed that truth still mattered. Because justice doesn't always wear a robe. Sometimes it holds a tablet and presses play. They tried to take everything from her, but the truth spoke louder than lies. Sometimes the smallest voice in the room carries the greatest power.